Imagine the silence of a house at midnight. No parents, no siblings, just the low hum of the refrigerator and the distant wind outside. For 19-year-old Sarah, this was supposed to be a relaxing weekend alone in her family's old Victorian-style home. The house was beautiful, but it was noisy, always creaking, always breathing. Sarah was curled up on the sofa, the glow of the TV the only light in the living room. It was 11:15 p.m. when the first sound broke her peace. Not a creak, not a settling floorboard. It was a heavy, muffled thump, coming from directly above her head, from the attic. She froze, remote in hand, muting the TV. She held her breath, listening so hard her ears started to ring. "It's just a squirrel," she whispered to herself. But then a second sound followed, a slow, rhythmic dragging noise, like someone was pulling a heavy bag across the wooden slats of the attic floor. Sarah's heart began to hammer against her ribs. She stood up, her legs feeling like lead, and walked toward the kitchen to grab the largest knife she could find. Her hands were shaking so violently, the blade rattled against the counter. To get back to her bedroom, she had to walk down the long, narrow hallway, the hallway that housed the attic hatch. As she stepped into the corridor, her blood turned to ice. The rectangular wooden hatch in the ceiling, which had been tightly shut for years, was now hanging open by exactly 2 inches. A dark, bottomless slit in the ceiling was staring back at her. Sarah didn't scream. She couldn't. She fumbled for her phone in her pocket to call 911, but just as her thumb hovered over the screen, something fluttered down from the dark gap in the ceiling. A small, yellowed piece of paper spiraled through the air and landed at her feet. With trembling fingers, she picked it up. It was a handwritten note in jagged, messy ink. It simply said, "You're out of milk, Sarah. And you're low on eggs, too." The realization hit her like a physical blow. This person hadn't just been up there. They had been coming down. They had been in her kitchen. They had been watching her eat. Sarah bolted out the front door, not even stopping to grab her shoes, and ran to her neighbor's house, screaming for help. When the police arrived with K9 units, what they found was a nightmare realized. In the furthest, darkest corner of the attic, directly above Sarah's pillow, was a makeshift campsite. A dirty sleeping bag, piles of empty food wrappers from Sarah's own pantry, and a small, half-inch hole neatly drilled through the floorboards. Through that hole, someone had a perfect, unobstructed view of Sarah's face while she slept. For 21 days, a stranger had lived inches above her, monitoring her life, eating her food, and watching her breathe in the dark. The guest was never caught, but to this day, Sarah cannot sleep in a room that has a hatch in the ceiling. What would you do if you found that note? Let me know in the comments, and remember, check your locks and check your ceilings.